my guest today is Niha Dagia, head of Dawn News English. So a bit of an intro for Niha. I don't know Niha because she's Dawn News English head. Niha and I go back like several years, almost 10 years, not exactly.
Yeah.
We sort of worked together under the same roof.
Yeah,
like
perfect.
literally, I think we knew each other vaguely from Twitter, and then
Yeah.
Neha walked into my workspace one day and she was like, I used to run a co-working space, so Neha walked in one day and she was like, can I rent a room? Because back then, Neha was a psychologist. So Neha went to psychology school and she practiced for a couple of years. And then, like, how did you find the space? How did we end up like meeting?
I think I had just moved back to Karachi. I went to psychology school. I'm a psychotherapist.
Okay.
I got my degree, I got licensed, I came back and I was looking for a place to practice. And a friend recommended that there's a co-working space and you can, rent a room there and all. So I thought, why not?
Yeah.
And I came there and I met you. When I walked in, I was like, hey, I know this girl. And then I was like, hey, I know her through Twitter.
Yeah, we followed each
and
other on
then,
Twitter.
yeah. And that's how we started, we started talking.
I think we kind of connected.
But then it was a couple of years later
that we
connected properly.
But,
and
so at that time, you were also writing for different publications as like a cricket writer.
Yeah, so when I was in school, I'm a big cricket fan.
Yeah.
So when I was in school, I used to write for these cricket blogs and magazines. So yeah, I just enjoyed watching cricket and then writing about it. So I used to do match reports, I used to do analysis and all those things, which kind of is how I got into journalism. Because I'm an accidental journalism.
Yeah, so
accidental journalist. When I came back to Karachi, I was practicing here, but it wasn't going too well because this was back in 2015, 2016.
And I mean, if I can say, like, when you came back and you were a psychotherapist and you were sort of providing therapy to people who were sort of feeling broken in certain ways, you were a bit broken yourself.
Yes, I was freshly out of an abusive marriage. So I guess at that point I was struggling personally. It was a personal crisis, and at the same time, in Pakistan at that time, people didn't take therapy as seriously as they do now. So I was struggling with my professional life as well. So I was kind of sitting at home, doing nothing, becoming lazier day by day. And you could say I was like wallowing in self-pity. I thought, kya hoga mera? Because ab to kuch bhi, there's a personal crisis.
To believe socially, कि बस
मतलब खत्म सब कुछ.
तलाकशुदा लड़की हो गई.
Yeah, so I filed for khula, which was even worse because then, when the girl attempts to get out of a marriage, then there's more stigma to it.
And there's a lot of like, ye to aisi thi, ye to waisi thi.
Yeah. But in my case, there wasn't much of that. But
I mean, generally.
Generally. But although I come from a conservative Maiman, community, but it was relatively okay. I was shielded. Yeah, I was shielded by, I guess, my family.
Yeah.
But yeah, professionally nothing was happening, and I was just sitting at home doing basically nothing. And then this one day, a friend of mine just called, and he was like, "तुम क्या कर रही हो?" I was like, "कुछ नहीं." He was like, "Yeah, कुछ नहीं कर रही." And then he was like, "Listen, there's an opening at Express Tribune. Why don't you try?" And I very reluctantly went there, and I joined Express Tribune on their sports desk. But once I joined, and then kind of stuff happened, and then I got on the main desk. But I think the first day that I joined Express Tribune, when I walked into the newsroom, I think, Hijra, that was the first time in my life that I felt like I belonged somewhere,
Okay.
Like I felt...
What is it about the newsroom that made you feel that you belong?
I don't know. I just knew that I don't want to leave.
Okay.
I loved it. And so this was kind of like me taking a break from therapy and doing something. But once I was here, I was like, you know what, I'm never leaving this. But I knew that I had no idea how journalism worked. So I knew I had to learn,
Okay.
you know. But I got lucky.
Okay.
I think because I was working with people who knew what they were doing.
Okay.
It was very easy for me to to kind of pick things from people from here and there. And at that time, Express Tribune had the best reporters.
But also, I'm kind of curious that so I feel like media and the newsroom is such a like male-dominated space. How and you're saying that you really enjoyed yourself and you got to learn from people and sort of navigate your way around. How did that work? How did you manage to do that? Because also you seem to be a fresh face in the space, so it's not like okay, you worked your way up. So they were like, "Acha, she's part of the fraternity. We're going to help her." How did you suddenly be like, "Hi, I'm going to do this today. Help me"?
I mean, I started off as a sub-editor, so
Yeah.
I did start from scratch. In 2016, 2017, Tribune was a very vibrant newsroom. There were young people everywhere. There were women, senior journalists, and we were all together. And it was very easy to learn.
Yeah.
My first boss, Hassan, who runs Mashal now, he was a great boss. Like I said, the reporters were great, and they were all young, so it was very easy to communicate. As things went on, I was always ambitious. So once I decided that this is what I want to do, I knew that one day I want to run my newsroom.
Okay, and this was also because like you felt like you sort of had to re-establish yourself.
Yeah, so I guess one of the main driving factors was the fact that I was depressed. And I was using work as a coping mechanism. Do not recommend.
But I mean, she's only just heading a newsroom, so she definitely doesn't recommend it.
But yeah, so yeah, I was consumed by work. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be the best at what I do.
Yeah.
I would stay up all night. I would read up. If there was a court hearing the next day, I would stay back and I would read up on the laws, and I would read 400, 500 pages of documents, of JITs and, judgments, everything. I used to make sure that I'm prepared. But I always inclined towards terrorism and militancy, which meant that I had a lot to cover.
Okay.
Something, because I'm living in Karachi from an upscale, neighborhood. Yeah. So it was difficult to understand what goes on and what goes on ground.
Yeah.
So that was difficult.
But now you're very good at it. Like Neha's the one person who like, what if I don't understand what's happening in the country, I'll be like, what's happening? And Neha's like, everything's on fire. Like the world is ending. And I'm just like, this country, itne bure halat. And then Neha will send me some technical thing like the country only has like 1 week's worth of money left. And I'm just like, what does that mean? Why are you telling me this? I was like, I'm just ranting. Why are you telling me the truth?
I just give truth bombs.
No, and then she like share random things with me like I will watch the news sometimes and I'll be like, oh my god, Neha told me this a week ago. That this is going to, like not spoilers as in like newsroom spoilers, but like obviously journalists को पता है कि मुल्क के हालात किस direction में जा रहे हैं. So she'll just be like, it's going to get worse. And I was like, no, I don't want to hear this. Tell me something like tasalli do mujhe.
I have no good
There's
news.
no tasalli for me. Okay, so
I only have bad news.
Okay, so I was going to ask this question towards the very end because like I wanted to be able to cover a lot of things, but like it just keeps coming up. Neha, you're doing really well for yourself, mashallah, and you seem pretty normal and not that crazy. And you've done really well for yourself, but I also know that you've been through so much. Not at the hands of anyone, but like socially, there's this narrative that there's no future for divorcees, or like a lot of girls, regardless of being in that situation, regardless of having any sort of pressure, there's this social pressure. Okay, what if society does not accept me as a divorced woman, or maybe will my life be
definitely
better?
I remember when I was so scared myself that what would happen to me, that it took me a very long time to tell my family what was happening in my life, because I'm from a conservative even family, so you don't think about divorce. You never assume. You're like, marriage is lifelong. And I came from a very protective background, like I was very protected all my life. I was well sheltered. And then suddenly there was this trauma of a marriage and then coming back home. But yeah, I think I was also very determined to make something out of myself. I remember I wrote, like, there was a list of things that I thought that, I want to accomplish in my life. And alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful to Allah here because I have been able to accomplish 3 out of those 4 things.
Manifested.
Yeah, I manifested it. Definitely manifested it. Yeah, but I think I was also, alhamdulillah, lucky because my dad he was my rock. My mom and my brother Haris, he always had my back. In fact, recently, I think 2021, at that point I was a desk head, and if any journalist is watching this, then they would know that once you're a desk head, you're stagnant, because it's the same work that you do. It's a routine, you come into work, you're doing the same things, and even though it feels, from the outside, it feels like बहुत political activity हो रही है, but for us it's the same because it keeps repeating itself, So it was mundane, and I felt kind of stuck. And I went to my brother Haris and I was like, listen, I'm thinking of leaving the newsroom and reporting, going on the field and reporting for a bit. Now you got to know that my field is militancy and terrorism, which is not something that, most families would be comfortable sending their daughters to. So I told Haris that, I told my brother, okay, I want to report. And he was like, do it. And but I was still conflicted, and he said this one very important, which stuck with me. He said, okay, would you have the opportunity to do this 2 years later? And I said, no, I wouldn't. Because right now it's a time where I can take a break from the newsroom, and I can, take like a year or 2 years off and go on field, and then come back to the newsroom whenever I want. So yeah, I think it's very important. Like, it's of utmost importance to have like a solid family support, and so yeah, I mean, and I did it. I reported for a year, and then I came back to the newsroom. Much better journalist, I feel.
Yeah.
It's very important for journalists. If anyone's watching and anyone wants to be a journalist, you want to be on the desk, you should also report. Do both.
Because that's a lot of hands-on.
Yeah. Because see, when you're on the desk, it's very easy to like call up your reporter and say, "Yeah, मुझे ये चाहिए, आप ये ले आए, वो कर दें." When on the field, you understand कि अच्छा कहाँ से क्या आ रहा है, और किस तरह से peg होना चाहिए.
You also make contacts.
You make contacts. That's the thing. That's the best thing.
Because now, like when we're having conversation, you're just like, I need to talk to someone, and then I have to sit there.
No name dropping.
I know. I'm just trying to make it clear that Niha tells me no insider stuff. She just tells me the scary stuff because बस सब कुछ खत्म होने वाला है.
2 हफ्ते के रह गए.
2 हफ्ते के रह गए. सब कुछ तबाह हो रहा है. Or like we're watching the news one night, and I just think क्या हो रहा है? And I'll be like, Niha, what does this mean? Like what's happening on the news? And then she'll give me like a dumbed down version for Kisra. So you, in the break, were like, I really want to shout out to my female friendships.
Wow. Yeah. So not just that, but I also want to talk about. It's very important to have female bonding, female friendships, particularly in workplaces.
Yeah.
Because again, patriarchy, right? Women are considered a minority. So if there's on the board table, there is 1 seat for women, right? And we feel like we have to compete for that 1 seat, and we forget that, hey, we can compete for the other 8 seats as well.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where this, women are pitted against each other.
Yes.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, we've had this conversation a lot of times. So I feel like now that, I am in a position and you are in a position, I think it's very important for us to not break this barrier.
Yeah.
Break the cycle of just going after each other. Instead, support each other.
So basically what you're saying is like women are pitted against each other and in the workplace also, because we feel like are in that whole table, we're both fighting for that one seat, but actually we can technically fight for all those seats, and both of us can be at that same table. But nobody wants us to know that. We have to figure it out ourselves by not strangling each other.
Yes.
Basically. Because that's what everyone's trying to get us to do.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No, I think that makes absolute sense.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know that how hard it is for women anyway. And like initially you talked about, you know, the news media industry being a male-dominated space. It is true. See, if I'm given a leadership role, if a man was given a leadership role, they would just command respect, you know, organically of their peers. But if it's a woman, you have to earn that respect.
And how are you doing that? Because also
you have to work really hard. You have to stay. You have to be on top of your game.
Because it's not just that you're a woman in a leadership role. You're like a tiny woman in a leadership role. You look very young.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, she's sitting on 2 pillows right now. So
I see.
So what I'm saying is that there's, you know, even women in the workplace who command respect, उनको भी अपने आप को भरा चढ़ा के जरा, you know, they have to sort of become that tough persona to get men to take them seriously. But like, how are you doing it? Because like,
you can't be wrong.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah. You have to always be right. You have to, like I said, it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
you have to be on top of your game. I remember at one of the other publications I was working at, one of my sub-editors, he was a male, and he had a problem taking directives from me, to the point that he wanted to move his shift, because I was shift in charge and didn't want to work with me. He would rather take directives from a male shift in charge than a female shift. So that happens. Recently, we were just having a meeting and my boss said, okay, randomly he said, okay, women are better workers. And I was like, yeah, that's because we have to work twice as hard to prove ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, and that is the case. गलत होने की गुंजाइश ही नहीं है.
गुंजाइश ही नहीं है.
बिल्कुल नहीं होती.
And they're just waiting for us to mess up.
And particularly if you're in a high stress job, then you cannot be wrong.
So Neha, like in your role, you end up meeting politicians and you end up meeting men in high powered roles, and conventionally they're not. No, I think by now they are in the habit of meeting women journalists, because we have some amazing women journalists in the field. But again, I feel like every one of those women has to go through that same battle that you're going through. So tell us about that battle of having your voice heard in like a room full of other people who want to get interviewed.
Oh, I get spoken over all the time.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit used to it, but so what I learned was when you do speak, say things that matter.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be very articulate about what you say. And this, you said meeting politicians and like, you know, anyone, people in high power jobs. So you know how I look. So I'm always the beta.
Yeah.
You know, G beta. So like initially when I meet somebody for the first time, I do get across, you know, I do come across as somebody who's new and who doesn't know what they're doing. But once you start talking and once you know, when research, you know, when you're going to go prepared. So once they know, okay, you know, I'm talking to somebody who knows what they're, who know what they're doing, then the respect comes.
Okay.
I think that is there, you know, because when you're interviewing someone, you can't just go with a couple of questions, you have to follow up. So you need to know what they're saying, is it correct or not. Right?
And I feel like, so while this thoroughness of yours and being well read and like so well informed may work really well in your field and with like when you're interviewing people, but I feel like maybe in social settings where everyone thinks they're an expert, you know, internet warriors and everything, and everyone knows the politics, you probably like piss off a lot of people.
I do.
Just like that smart ass bitch who thinks
I used to, but I think now I've come at a point, if somebody comes and says, hey, the earth is flat, I'm like,
do I have the patience and time to like argue with
why
this
not?
person?
Yeah.
जो मेरे बोलने के बावजूद नहीं मानेगा तो मैं
yeah. So I've kind of stopped.
You
maybe this is a phase. They will come up. Maybe again I will start, you know, arguing. I wouldn't say arguing, but like I just state facts
Yeah.
And recently what I started doing is I don't even say anything, I just post links. Hey,
Oh
read
yeah,
out.
you helped me do that. So
Yeah.
yesterday someone was wrong on the internet, and I was like, Niha, screenshot. Tell me what to say. Neha did not tell me what to say. Neha
Just
sent
sent
me a
links.
link and she said, post this link, and I did that. And then I muted the person. And I was like, peace out. I have said what I said. My journalist friend sent me a link.
So that's what I do.
No,
I
but
like just read. You know,
but
you
you
talking
trigger a
about
lot
this.
of men. Because I'll tell you why.
Not just men, I trigger women as well.
It's because, like I said, everyone thinks because the internet is an amazing thing. It gives you, it is this platform for a lot of information.
Yeah.
So, and it is a very democratic platform. We all have access to the same information. So, and of course, we all think we know it now. So we live in a neighborhood that's very like connected. Very connected on WhatsApp and everything, and I'm not naming names or whatever, and it happens in isolation in certain situations. But like sometimes people are talking about politics or mulke halat or iski galti, and Neha will just be like, actually, this happened, and someone's like, how do you know? Huh? And I'm just like, this is a person heading.
But I don't go around telling people that I'm doing
I know. Like I wait for Neha to be like, excuse me.
That never happens.
What I do, she doesn't. She just goes quiet, and I think that's like.
I just send a link. PR पढ़ लो, आप पढ़ लो. Just read.
You do the emotional labor.
Why should I?
Why should I?
Why should I? You know, and I feel like probably controversial, but I feel like if you're below 50 and you're ignorant, it's not cool. It's not on you. It's on you.
And if you have the privilege to be informed.
Yeah, you have access to information.
Yeah.
You have the privilege, and yet you choose to be ignorant, then there's nothing anyone else can do about it. That's on you.
Yeah.
And so I'm not gonna sit there and try to prove myself right. It's on you to prove yourself
informed.
Yeah, it's on you to be informed, and not for me to inform you. Everything is accessible. Just go and read. One of the major things that I hate, I think most journalists hate, is that people don't read. They read the headline and that's it. Perhaps the first paragraph, that's it. Funny thing, Abhi, there was a Karachi Literature Festival, and somebody asked that why was Dawn's Herald, why was it discontinued, and there's this conspiracy going on and this and that. And Zarar, one of our Dawn's news anchors, Zarar was like, there's no conspiracy. We stopped making money because people don't read.
Yeah.
People don't read a 4-column story. You really think they're gonna read an investigative
because
magazine? They don't.
He was very well informed, well researched.
And those were like what, 2,000, 3,000 words. People don't read at all.
Yeah.
Abhi bhi एक line पढ़ेंगे and then they would start arguing with you on Twitter.
And because that's also where they're getting the headlines.
Yeah.
We're finding our news off of tweets.
Off of tweets, yeah.
News off. After that, I messaged Neha and I said, "Batao isko detail." So yeah, my personal vision.
But what we're trying to do at Dawn News English is we make these small videos.
Yeah.
Plug in. Please subscribe to Dawn News English.
Please, they're working so hard, you guys. She's not paying to be here today.
Yeah.
This is just organically happening, I promise you. But like, you guys do a lot of mehnat, and they talk about things like climate change and like women empowerment.
Economy.
And it's a lot of work shit, but like, that is stuff you need to be well informed on. It's not cool to call something woke and dismiss it anymore.
Yeah.
Climate change is very real.
Climate change, and we're doing a lot of economy, which again, we should, something that women should also be,
because we need financial
inclusion, financial information. Because I see so many women not knowing how to even open a bank account.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
And in this economy, you need to know your financial rights. Everybody.
And I feel like for women, it's most important because it kind of keeps us out of staying in bad situations or being stuck in bad situations because we're independent.
We're independent that way, and in this economy, it's very difficult to save. But a lot of questions that I've been getting past few weeks has been, hey, I've got some money saved. What do I do with it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
because it's keep losing. Rupee is falling, so your money is losing its value.
Yeah.
So what do you do with it? Questions like these are, we do videos on those things. We get economists to speak about those things, but it's just something that
struggle trying
women.
to get people to watch.
Yeah, it's a struggle trying to find people to watch. And what's even worse is I don't see a lot of women. Like when I see analytics, I see more men than women watching these videos, which I think is a problem, because women should also be taking all these things seriously.
But then
Not just make it a men.
I'm just curious, maybe
Even politics affects your guys. Politics affects your lives, man. Don't say you don't talk about politics. You should talk about politics.
Yeah.
Can I plug in a podcast that's coming up to do this?
On my podcast? No.
No. Okay, so
Just
just
do it. Do it.
So yeah, we have a podcast coming up, which is going to be women-centric, and we aim to make short videos other than the podcast to, to let people know about their financial rights and their economic rights, their legal rights, their workplace rights, domestic rights, everything. And although I'm kind of making it sound like it's a legal show, it's not. But that's just a part of it. But we aim to talk about problematic issues that are normalized.
Yeah.
So yeah, watch out.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So I keep wanting to talk about, I think one of the most fascinating things for me in this friendship also, and about you and everything, is that you're kind of sort of this aspirational, and there are a lot of such aspirational women, but like directly in contact with me, right next door,
very kind of
is
you.
this person who got out of an abusive marriage, was very sheltered, didn't know how to open a bank account. I'm kidding. She did.
No, I did.
You did, right?
I did.
It was a joke, okay? But like, looking at you right now, and alhamdulillah, how well you've done, it's such
Name and family, I knew how to do my finances.
She said it, not me. So I feel like there needs to be more, and I know you hate visibility. You're like this person who loves being in the shadow. When I asked her to be here today, she was like, can we do it on like a phone? And I was like, no, fix your hair, fix your face, and get over here.
Okay, I hate coming in
Like,
front
I want
of the
people
camera.
to know that you are a super success after your divorce, not before it. I feel like you kind of came out of the divorce and you were like, I'm going to show people that I'm not this sad person whose life was ruined, and that this is not going to be my story.
Yeah.
This is where my story begins.
I'm very grateful, because I think I've been lucky. I think I'm very grateful to Allah for everything that He's given me. He showed me a path. Like, I just worked hard and everything just kept happening. I guess you just need to have faith, and then you need to give your all.
But like, I feel like that needs to be profiled more. Not the survivor narrative. Like, I don't want this to be like, I don't. This is not a survivor narrative. This is just there is life after a broken marriage, or there is life after you leave your marriage. Not a forget broken marriage. You left your marriage. You walked away. You fought to walk away, and then you you sort of didn't. Yes, we all go through depression and we all go through these situations, but you were just like, acha, that's it, bas ro liya.
I'm a very practical person.
Yeah.
I've always been a very practical person. If something's happening, my mind always goes towards, okay, now what? This has happened. What do you do now? I don't kind of sit back and wallow. Okay, ye to ab kya ho gaya? I'm more like, okay, this is done now. What do I do?
But like,
what do I do next? What's next? So I'm always looking.
Don't have that sort of discipline or a lot of that support system and stuff.
Yeah. I was very lucky, because I'm grateful for my parents, because my dad got me out of the abusive marriage. अगर वो मेरे ऊपर होता तो मैं तो उधर ही बैठी होती अभी. But once I was out, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I've been granted this opportunity, and honestly, I was very grateful to be out of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that, I need to kind of to just show my gratefulness to Allah. I worked really hard.
By making something.
By making something out of myself. Because I was like, he's given me this chance to, come out of this traumatic, thing in my life, and I'm not gonna waste it.
I would
jumped
love
at it.
to
I was like,
have
I
you
want
share more of this on like a public profile. Like you need to make your Insta public.
I'm a very private person.
I'm gonna make
You know
her
what?
make a
When my
public
boss
Instagram.
sees this, he's gonna give me help because I always say no to being in front of the camera. And
He did it for me, sir.
I did it for her. Yeah.
But thank you so much for being on
Thank
the
you so much
show.
for having me.
Thank you so much for saying yes, Neha. And on like a day's notice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
See, I would not do this for anyone but her.
I didn't ask. I was like, listen, I was gonna call
She
you,
was very.
but I need your day to be bumped up today because Karachi is Karachi, and my guests have crazy lives, and I want to be very open about their schedules and stuff because I want to be understanding about people's schedules and how Karachi affects people's life. But I did not give Neha that luxury. I called her up yesterday. I was like, I'm not asking. I'm telling you, I need a guest for tomorrow. You're my guest. She's like, okay. Wait, get my hair done.
I got my hair done.
And that's how Neha is on my show today. But thank you so much for coming. I know what a big deal this is for you, and I know you're going to be in trouble because you didn't do it for anybody else. But thank you so much. I'm so happy that we got to be...
I'm so glad you're doing this. See, Hijra has been telling me about Sister Please for, I don't know, a year, more than a year.
2 years.
2 years now. And I'm so glad that you're doing it. And in fact, I've seen the first 2 episodes, and I'm looking forward to Saba's episode, which is coming on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah, please catch that.
They will have caught it by the
You
time.
would have caught it by then, but if you haven't, please go and watch.
Please go watch all the episodes.
Yeah.
Thank you
please.
so much
Thank
for coming. Thank you so much for watching Sister Please with me, Fizra Munir, and my guest, Niha Dagia. We will leave that mistaken. Bye.
Bye.